Let me tell you a story. When I was just a little girl, my grandmother would put me on her lap, and while braiding my hair, she would tell me this magical story of this ancient dance called Sanghyang Dedari. Sanghyang Dedari dance is a dance ritual performed by little girls who are believed to be possessed with the spirit of the goddesses. She would tell me, hey, did you know that your great-grandmother was a Sanghyang dancer? The villagers here revered her, and they believed that she had supernatural powers. Even though she's just a little girl, she could run really fast and climb into 4 meters high bamboo poles and walk into fires. All of those acts with her eyes still closed. So, as a little girl, my mind was racing and my eyes widened, and I exclaimed hastily to my grandmother, Grandma, Niang, where can I see this dance? And my grandmother's eyes turned into sadness, and she paused for a long time, and then she said, well, I haven't seen it for quite some time. I wonder why the goddesses haven't showed up again. That was my first memory talking about Sanghyang Dedari dance. And time passed, I grew up. I work now as a lecturer at Universitas Indonesia. But I'm still very much obsessed with that dance. So I read many literature, and then I watched old documentaries by Margaret Mead and also David Attenborough just to make sense about this elusive dance. Until one day, my campus manager, my research manager, he approached me and he said, well, do you want to do some in-depth scientific research on the dance? I agreed upon it. I assembled a team, and I created preliminary research. And my research questions were, one, what is the story behind the Sanghyang Dedari dance? And secondly, what is the purpose of the dance? And third, most importantly, whether the dance still exists or not. So in 2016, I went all over Bali. I roam all over Bali. I pursue clues and all the literatures. I came to places, I interviewed sources. I even met a village elders living here in Gianyar, especially in Bona village, which based on the literature I read, it's one of the place, the origin for Sanghyang Dedari dance. But the village elders, or Panglingsir, he told me, well, Imadi Sijia said the dance has been long gone. He hasn't seen it for a while. The last time he saw it, he was a little boy. So all the places I went, it resulted in one disappointing conclusion that there's this possibility, really sad possibility that the dance has already extinct. So I created this initial report to my campus saying that due to modernization and industrialization happening in Bali, that the dance of Sanghyang Dedari has become scarce. A breakthrough happened around 8 months later. A source called me and he said, hey, Saras, I think you should come here. There's this remote place, this village, this small village on the foothill of Mount Agung. I think they still perform the dance you've been looking for years. So I went to Karangasem, I flew in to Bali, and then I met the head chief, Jerowayan Brata, and he told me this amazing story that really just mesmerizing. The story was astounding. What I later learned was even more mesmerizing. I got this rare opportunity to meet the villagers of Gerianakau and to know them, their kind-heartedness, and the reason why they still perform the dance of Sanghyang Dedari. And it turns out there's this connection between the dance and the environment. Not only the dance is sacred, but it is also related to a very delicate culture of rice here in Bali. And when I first met the villagers of Grianakau, they told me the story that they believe the goddess of the earth, or the goddess Sri, as the holy protector of farmers. And they believe that by maintaining the dance of Sangyang Dedari, they also believe that they will have a bountiful and successful harvest, and it will cast away all form of pests and cast away sociological problems. And the dance of Sangyang Dedari also reveals this ancient worship of the earth as the divine feminine power. And I think that is very interesting. The villagers of Grianakau suffered the worst of sociological and also ecological problem. They experienced infertile lands. They also experienced failed crops, and also youth leaving and abandoning their farming tradition to go to the cities and seek for other opportunities. I actually investigate this for years, between the collapse of the society and also the degradation of ecology. For the case of Grianakau, they suffered for 30 years. During the 1960s, there's this high demand of rice. And by the system, they were forced to change their habits and the tradition of farming. They succumbed to chemical fertilizer and pesticide. And they're also forgetting their local ancestral seed that they call padi masa. All of those acts resulting into their land or their soil becoming barren, overcultivated, and infertile. During those troubled years, the villagers of Grianakau asked for help from Sangyang Dedari. But there were no longer signs from the heaven. So they thought, we must be doing something wrong, but we can change this. We can turn this thing around. We can turn this misfortune around. So what they did, they retraced their way back into good, responsible farming. They also resurrect their local seed or their indigenous seed called padimasa. That means the eternal seed. Alongside with that, they maintain their environment, they rehabilitate their environment, and also resurrect the dance of Sangyang Dedari, who's been lost for years. The success story of the villagers of Grianakau, for me, is a ray of hope in the hopelessness of climate crisis. I learned so much from them that indigenous communities, they have this immense power in taking care of the environment. And I think we should all learn from them, their steadfast and their commitment in taking care of the environment. As a researcher, I was trained to be always objective and keeping in mind, Saras, you have to suspend judgment, to suspend emotion, right? And then, but I just can't shake this thing. I remember the first encounter, my first time encountering the dance and seeing the little girls dance. I remember I sat on that holy ground, pitch black, pitch dark. There's no light whatsoever. And there were these girls with surrounding of fragrant smoke. And I saw this smoke moving as it's living and forming a kind of pathway to the heavens. When they are possessed, the girls were carried off into the crossroad by their pangaya, or their helpers. And that crossroad symbolizes the meeting point of a compass. And in that crossroad, the thin veil that separates from the mortal world with the gods and goddesses world is being lifted. And they believe the appearance of the goddesses, they're dancing, they're swaying, and giving out marigolds and frangipanis as a token of good luck. They believe that whatever problem that they're having, either sociological or ecological, the goddess will bless them. As a conclusion, my philosophical endeavor, I can realize now the importance of oral tradition in Bali. I also can summarize two functions of the dance. First, it functions as an event, a venue of connection to the Niskala, or the unseen world, with our ordinary world. The second function, it functions as a form of catharsis, to heal a broken or shattered relation between people and nature. The modern mind would argue that there is no longer magic in this world. But after seeing the dance that I've searched all through my life and since I was a little girl, I realized, and I'm humbled by the spirit of the villagers, the power of the villagers in safeguarding the environment. And to me, that is magic. Thank you. The head chief is here. Thank you.